and I'm going to send the link to the recording to Mr. Powell. So if you ever wanted to come back and take a look at this, just to, if you forgot a certain part, or you know, which place did I go to, what did I say, that's all going to be available for you. It's going to be on the library YouTube page that we do have a bunch of videos on there as well. Some of them are class, like they're 45, 50-minute long class type videos, but some of them are little 5-minute videos to show you how to find certain things. So you can always feel free to take a look at that page. You know, once you get that link, you'll land where that channel is. So you can kind of play around and see the different things that we have. Mr. Powell mentioned that was appointed as Dean of Learning Resources, so real important. That's, of course, involves the library, but we also have a fantastic writing center here at Gaston College. They're physically located in the Robinson building on campus on the second floor there, but they're doing everything virtually online. So you could submit your paper there, they can review it, take a look at it. There's great writing center coaches that can help you out. Also, for any other discipline, there's a great learning center on campus. So we have students who can help you tutor in different subject areas. Anybody taking an advanced math class or sciences class, we do have a math and science center that has tutoring available for you there as well. So there's a lot of great resources, and the library is a great resource. So folks, just remember, your learning resources are here to help you out at Gaston College to maximize your abilities that you have here. You're not alone at all in this process. We are here to help you out with anything that you need. So please feel free to ask us. We're glad to help you out. We wake up wanting to help you out, okay? So please feel free to do that. So I'm going to share my screen and show you where library resources are located. Typically when I've had classes where students are together, I'd have you get on your computer and you can kind of follow along with me. I know a lot of this is kind of me showing you. If you wanted to, you could open up a couple of windows and you could follow along if you wanted to do some searches yourself. That's fine if you want to do that, or you can just follow along with the examples that I use. So let me open up the sharing for the screen of the Gaston College page. So hopefully the Gaston College page is something you've definitely seen before. I know that that's where our jumping off point for Blackboard, WebAdvisor, student email, those are all found up here in this section. The library is in this quick links section over on the side. But the really neat thing about the library and this page is they put us right here at the very top of the screen. If you go up to GC Foundation and in between it and Lincoln Campus, you'll see a link for the library. And when you click it, it'll take you to this page. Folks, you have a library here at Gaston College called the Morris Library. We have one at the Lincoln Campus in Kimball. Now, during the pandemic, we've had to close those two libraries, but we're open here at Morris Library, and we're open 7:30 until 6 o'clock at night, Monday through Thursday. Typically, we have longer hours and we have more days available for you in a spring semester. But right now during the pandemic, it's only 4 days a week. But when we get back to full opening, we'll be open 6 days a week, and the hours will be extended farther than closing at 6 o'clock at night. So keep that in mind as we get more out of this pandemic. And if you're going to continue being here at Gaston College for next year and the fall and the spring, hopefully we'll be in a more regular routine. Now, I encourage you to get a library card from us, but today I'm going to talk about electronic resources. The library card will allow you to check out physical books or DVDs that are in the building. You have to come up here to actually get that material, but I'm going to focus primarily today on how you access electronic material, including ebooks, the full book available online right through your computer. So when your instructor talks about resources for you to use, a resource, there's many, many different types of resources that can be used. When you think about a library, an individual resource to use in your research might be a book. You might find an article that was in a magazine or an article that was in a newspaper. You might find a video that you might want to use, and those are all examples of different types of resources. And you're not limited to just those. Those are kind of the main examples that a library will have for you. Now, what I've done on the home page here is I do have these categories set up on how you can find books or articles from magazines and newspapers and journals or videos. But if you come up to this very top tab here that says class guides, there's an alphabetical list of guides. And if I come down into the English department, I'll see English 112 and I'll see Mr. Powell's name. And I'll click on that guide to go to the English 112 Powell page. Now, you don't have to remember all that. I've given Mr. Powell this link. So now you don't really have to go to the library homepage. You can just go to this page. And this has got all of the resources that you need in one place. So this is what I want to talk about today, how you navigate it, how you find stuff. We'll do a couple example searches, but everything that you need is going to be found right here. My contact information is over here on the right, but folks, if you run into any kind of problem, we have a chat feature that's 24/7 chat, and that can help you out. I also mentioned we have Fantastic Writing Center, so the Writing Center link is right here, and we also have our YouTube videos where this class recording is going, and with other YouTube videos that we've made on different topics is on this channel that's right over here. The last thing I want to talk about this homepage before I move on to the tabs is ProQuest Research Companion. Folks, if you just want to get a really good general overview of college level research, how to be a really, really good college level researcher, one thing is pay attention to what I'm talking about today, because that'll help. But the other thing is you can go through the ProQuest Research Companion, and it's got a lot of good information. It's free for you to go into. It's not, you don't have to do this, but it's there for you if you want to kind of give you good foundation on how to be a really good college level researcher. Now, we've talked about everything on the home tab. So basically in this presentation, I'm going to talk about everything on these tabs moving left to right. So you can kind of gauge where we are in the presentation, how far along we've gone from me moving along from left to right. So the first thing we want to talk about is this one called Selected Topics. So I'm going to click it. And these are just some example research topics. Might not be ones that you've picked for this class, but they're just different ideas and topics of very popular topics that people are looking at and have looked at recently. So that's kind of listed here, but in tandem with it, we also have this one solo little link over here in the upper left called SIRS Issues Researcher. Now, SIRS Issues Researcher, when I click it, goes to this one resource. It's part of something called NC Live, and that's where libraries from across North Carolina can share or get the same level of resources from the same place. So folks, the SIRS Issues Researcher, you doing that search today, you're searching a resource that people at NC State are searching, Carolina, Gardner-Webb, Appalachian State, UNC Charlotte, all the public and private schools, the Gardner-Webbs, Davidsons, all of them in North Carolina, they're searching the same stuff. So it's a really good one to go into if you're wanting to kind of just look at things by topic. You can keyword search it if you want to, but if you want to explore things by topic, you can look at the trending topics that are here. You can come up here to the top and click leading issues, and you can click on these different categories, and you can see that any category I click onto has some other topics that you can explore, or you can come all the way to the very bottom and click all leading issues, and then come over to the right-hand side and click A to Z, and you have an A to Z listing of all of the issues and resources and topics that they have categorized information in this website. So as you come down the list, if there's something that interests you, you can select it. I'm going to pick freedom of speech just as a general topic to pick. And right now, it gives me the landing page for that topic. It gives me a little information about it. All of those, if you clicked on any of those boxes, they'd have their own landing page. And they'll always have the summary of what it's about. They'll try to take that broader topic and synthesize it into a question that can be argued pro and con. In this case, they're talking about whether or not freedom of speech should be protected, which it is under the First Amendment, or whether there's some speech that's dangerous, harmful, or offensive. And that is also true too. There are court cases that talk about how not everything that you say is necessarily freedom of speech, because if it falls under categories of dangerous, harmful, or offensive, it's possible that you could be liable for that speech. So these are 3 articles that support this claim, and these 3 articles support the full expression of free speech. And any of these that you click on, you'll see the entire article come back that you can read it. So where's it coming from? Well, in this case, this is from a magazine article, and the magazine is called The Diplomat. David Hutt wrote the article, and the title of the article is Facebook Finally Standing Up for Free Speech in Southeast Asia? All of that is your citation information that you need to tell your instructor where you got your stuff from. But if you wanted to just quickly know how to cite the article, if you come over to the right and hit the cite button, your MLA citation is done for you. So you can copy and paste that into your paper. You can click the copy button too if you wanted to, and it'll put it on the clipboard, and everything is there. So you start out with David Hutt's name, the author's names first. You have the title of the article written here in quotations. In italics is The Diplomat. That is the source or the magazine title it came from. This was published September 1st of 2020. It came from the database SIRS Issues Researcher, and this link will help your instructor or anyone reading your paper to click it, and they can go back and they can read the original article of where you got your information from. So that's your citation already done for you. Copy and paste it, place it into your paper. If people are more auditory learners, you have a listen button here. It'll actually read the article to you. So that's also available for you as well. The other thing to keep in mind is if I arrow back one, while these three articles support this statement and these three support this viewpoint, you're not limited to just 6 articles. All the pages are kind of set up like this, but if you want to find more articles on your topic, click this little magnifying glass link that says find more sources, and that's where you get a really large listing of different articles from different resources that you can explore. They're all full text. They're all reprinted, available for you to have access online. This happens to be from a publication called China Today. Most of these hits are going to come back from newspapers or magazines. You can select if that's only what you want to see. Our newspaper articles, you can do that. You can uncheck it if you want to. If you only want to see journals, you can collect that and off. Just a real quick statement though. Magazines and newspapers are written in a very common level. I mean, everybody can understand sort of how the articles are written. Just want to point out, if you've not ever been experienced with what a journal article looks like, or sometimes it's called scholarly journal, and the other term sometimes it's referred to as peer reviewed, P-E-R reviewed. Those are where research is written up, usually by researchers in a particular field. And in that case, in some disciplines, especially when you're going into a medical topic or something like that, you can get real high-end jargon. The research is very specific. It's very scientific on how it's written up sometimes, and very formulaic. It's good information and it's good research for you to use, but it's not necessarily written at a general level that we can all kind of understand. That's more newspaper articles and magazine articles. All of them are appropriate resources for you to use as far as your research is concerned, but I just want to describe the type of stuff that you might get back when you see that something might be a newspaper as opposed to a magazine or opposed to a journal article or scholarly journal. Now, there are a lot of other things that are available here too. We've got images that are based on the topic that we've got back. So there's all kinds of different statistics and pictures of different things and political cartoons, stuff like that that's available. But this is a really good starting point for people, but it doesn't fit everybody's needs. I mean, not everybody is going to see their topic listed in the leading issues or in these trending topics. So what I try to do is I try to get you to come back to this page and come to this tab, come down to how to find articles, and click that link, which will show you SIRS Issues Researcher again, but it importantly brings up this link called ProQuest Central. When you click ProQuest Central, this is another place for you to go to find articles, but now you're doing it with keyword searching. So instead of doing it by finding a topic of interest, you can type in a term that you're interested in trying to find. So Mr. Powell, I got a question for you.
Sure.
In the first class this morning, we talked about a whistleblower. We had the name of that person. There's another whistleblower that was real famous. The last name was Silkwood.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, one of my students, I'm not sure whether it's in this class, she's writing an argumentative paper judging the impact of Karen Silkwood's whistleblower and what it meant.
Right. So here's sort of a process approach that I'm going to show you on how to find articles. Some of this is stuff that you kind of understand maybe from your own research, but I just want everybody to be on the same page. Let's just say, for argument's sake, that Mr. Powell said, hey, there's this woman, her last name is Silkwood. Once you find some articles dealing with this whistleblower and stuff that she's dealt with. Mm-hmm. Well, the first thing you could do, I mean, that's a pretty unique name, right? So if I type in Silkwood, just the last name, all right, it's not Smith or Jones.
Right.
It's pretty unique. If I type it in, argument's sake, most of the articles that come back are probably dealing with this person. However, sometimes you might want to be a little bit more specific to have good relevancy in the hit results you get back. So here's the thing. We know her first name. Her first name is Karen. So we could look for any articles that mention Karen Silkwood, but if we want to find an article where the names are found side by side, instead of it being about Karen Craig and Michael Silkwood, which if you didn't put the quotations, that could potentially return. I was just looking for words. Putting stuff in quotations helps. Phrase searching, it likes that too. So if you put in freedom of speech, you put that in quotations, that might be a little bit better than just typing freedom of speech. And it might find the word freedom in a paragraph and speech in another paragraph, but not really together. So quotations really help. I didn't capitalize the person's name. They do that when you're typing up papers and stuff like that. You do have to follow rules of capitalization, but when you're researching stuff, don't capitalize anything. It doesn't really matter about that.
For instance, Calvin, you could add "and" to that and put in nuclear plant safety.
Well, I'm gonna get to that.
Okay. Okay.
So right off the bat, our number changed. We changed to 2,000 hits from the original hit number that we had. But now we're asking to have Karen Silkwood. But Mr. Powell brings up a great point. So say we really start reading about Karen Silkwood, and we learned that, you know, she was dealing with the issues dealing with safety of nuclear power plants. So if we want to make sure, I mean, really make sure that the article includes anything dealing with nuclear power, nuclear reactors, we know the word nuclear is going to show up. We can actually write the word "and," combine it with the term nuclear, and it has to have both of those terms in the same article. When you do that, your hit count is going to go down, and the more things you can "and" in together, like maybe the word safety, that guarantees those words are in the article. And the hope is that if a writer is using those same words that talk about your topic, that the hits that you get back are going to be more in tune with what you want, instead of it just being very broad and general. You know, I have a lot of students who might come to me and say, you know, dealing with these databases, even searching the web can be kind of overwhelming with the number of hits that I get back. But if you use this process of keyword searching for specific nouns or place names that talk about your topic, and searching for those in this formulaic way of saying, I want to find this and this and this, you'll get less hits, hopefully, and more on target with what you want. Now, what are you getting back? In this case, I'm getting back journals, I'm getting back newspaper articles, magazine articles. Just like service issues researcher, I could select these links and only see that type of information. But another thing just of interest for you, if you only wanted to find articles within a certain year ranges, you can use the slider and the publication date to do that, or you can even click enter a date range and put your own custom date range in. You have some instructors who, especially if you were going into the medical area, they only want you to find stuff in the last 5 years. So you could customize this to the last 5 years. Or if there was some topic that you wanted and you just want to have the last month or the last year of articles that come back, you can customize that. So that's a nice feature available. It was available on Service Issues Researcher too. If you only want journals to come back, you can click this box that says peer reviewed, and it'll redo and just show you the journals. In this case, it says 34 hits. If I uncheck it, checking that box or clicking scholarly journals is about the same thing. Now, I know the numbers were 34 and 32, but don't really worry about that too much. Pretty much the term peer reviewed is the same thing as saying, I want to find journal articles. But if you do a search, you can also, in your hit results, just click and just get the journal articles to come back. Again, that's an important thing because you do have some classes and some instructors who will give you that instruction that says that you can only get journal articles. And if that's the case, this is the best database to go to because it has more journals than Service Issues Researcher. And this is really going to be the place for you to find everything that you need in terms of journal research and any topic. So just kind of keep that in mind. Now, Mr. Powell is not limiting you to that. Magazine articles and newspaper articles are good resources to use. So that's fine. You don't have to limit yourself, but I just want you to know that that's available for you. So any of these hits that we get back, you can click onto them. In this case, it's talking about the story behind Karen Silkwood, and so it's giving you the whole article. And the citation for the article is over here on the side. So you can click Cite, and there's your MLA citation, just like Service Issues Researcher. Now, keep in mind that if I arrow back a page to this original result list, these hits came back just because these keyword terms showed up. But do keep in mind that if you click onto one of these articles, look over here to the right-hand side of the related items, because sometimes you might find better articles or articles that are more related to one that you found here to find additional stuff than you would if you just arrowed back a page. And so you can look through these, you could click find more related items, and you could see a good listing of some good hits that come back that might be of good interest for you to take a look at and explore. Now, sometimes you'll have articles like this one that I selected that are reprints directly from the publication itself. And so that just kind of reinforces that this was originally in a print publication. So basically we're searching traditional library resources. We're just doing it online. And instead of you having to come into the library to physically find an article from a subscription that we might have from a magazine, newspaper, or journal, you getting it directly here online through this resource.
Something else you mentioned, Calvin, and students, the fact that these resources were once in print, that's the point. And they're in the digital format because they've been fact-checked, they've been peer-reviewed. It's much better than going out on the World Wide Web, because you don't know what the authority is, you don't know what the organization is, you don't know what the agenda is. These are trusted sources.
Right. It's much easier to get a web page and to post stuff there than it is to be published as a writer or a researcher in a publication, because those publishers put their name behind it. So it's kind of, most things are, you find the money trail, and you're paid for your work, and there's a money exchange there, and that tends to give it some credibility when it has people that are looking behind it and saying that our reputation is on the line, than just somebody having a web page that's out there. That's not to discount free stuff. There's a lot of good stuff on the web, but you have to critically evaluate that stuff. At least here, when you come to the library, we've already answered that question for you, that it's good for you to use. Now, I've shown you 2 resources so far. At this point, I'm just going to take a quick pause and ask, does anybody have any questions about these 2 resources or the library in general at all?
So this video will be put on YouTube, so we can go back at any time and watch this, right?
That's exactly right.
All right.
And of course, the link that I've given to Mr. Powell is going to post that in your class, so you'll have that direct link.
Yeah, that'll link directly to the to our personal class page.
Yeah, and you'll also see here too that on this page that was the article search, I have embedded another video here to show you how to find articles. So this is a little short, like 4 or 5 minute thing. So that's every time you go into one of these sections over here, you'll see a corresponding video to how you search it. Now, there's other types of resources to use. We have videos that are available for you to use. I'm going to come down here underneath finding articles to find streaming videos. And a really great resource that we have is Films on Demand. And so when you click that link, it opens up to this homepage. But folks, I just want to show you one quick thing before we get to that homepage. These are all pay-for resources. And because they are, not everybody can come to this page and directly go into them, but you can because you're a Gaston College student. So you will see this login at home. If you click onto those resources, it will ask you to log in. Now, this is your Blackboard login, and I do the same thing, and you might have done this too. You log in and you say, check, save password, and then you forget your password and you don't remember what your credentials were to log in. It happens to me too. But you gotta know this stuff. You gotta know your username and your password to get in. But folks, I'll give you a shortcut. If you do have a pen and piece of paper near you, and Mr. Powell knows this shortcut too. If you want to ask him, you can do this. If you type in GC NC Live, so that's GC like Gaston College and NC like North Carolina, and the word live, and you put that in as the username and the password, it'll let you in. Okay, so we do encourage you. We want you to log in as yourself, but if you run any kind of problem, I don't want to have a barrier for anything. So I want you to use these resources. So please use GCNC Live if you want to. Anybody who's in our early college program, they can use GCNC Live too. But I even made another password for them because their mascot is Spartans. And if you type in GC Spartans as the username and password, then it'll also let you in too. So so that's available for you to just kind of get in. Once you're in on the homepage, again, you can kind of explore the videos. There's some popular topics that are up here, or you could do keyword searching up here if you want to. If I typed in Karen Silkwood again, then we've got a video here on more whistleblowers, and it mentions Karen Silkwood in it, probably along with some other folks. This is talking about NSA spying. So this is like
we watched that one earlier in the course.
You already watched that one, okay. So
yeah, you're right. It's a very good sort of rundown on more.
Yeah, and it gives you that good background information. Yeah. It gives you an introduction to, you know, NSA. I mean, I was a political science major in school, but before I became a political science major, I didn't know what NSA meant. You know, I mean, these acronyms that are used for these agencies. I mean, I didn't know anything about it. So you'll see all that kind of stuff kind of explained here. Just want to reinforce, I don't know if Mr. Powell showed you this, but you do have your cite button here. Mm-hmm. So if you did use the video, you could cite it if you want to. Another thing that's available is a transcript of the videos. So this is the entire text of the video over here on the side. So that's kind of a neat thing. You can even click on a certain parts of this text and it'll go straight to that part of the video. And it will highlight the words as they're talking. And if you have like a quote that you wanted to grab out, you could kind of highlight and paste really easily. Mm-hmm. We do have closed captioning, but you know what closed captioning is, just the text as they're speaking at that particular time. But here you get the entire text of the entire broadcast. So most of the videos, not all of them have transcripts, but they try to promise that about 95% of videos and films on demand do have transcripts available. So that's a really great resource, Films on Demand. I mean, obviously you can YouTube stuff, but remember, YouTube's the same thing as just like the free web. Anybody can get an account and anybody can post stuff on YouTube. That doesn't mean that they're an expert on their field. And there's a lot of weird stuff on YouTube and conspiracy stuff and rabbit holes that people can go down into because anybody can put stuff out. And they can make it look professional, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's good.
Yeah, I think the thing with this, since everybody's got to have at least one video or film as a source, here's where I want you to go, guys. I mean, we got 40-some thousand titles, and I really think you can find a segment of 2 minutes or something that you can use in your paper.
Yeah, so this is available for you to have access to. Going back over here to this page. I've talked about articles, I've talked about books. I'm sorry, videos. I've talked about, and we've got books that are available for you to search. And I'm gonna let you do this on your own. This link right here, it says find books. That's our catalog, and that allows you to search what we have physically here. But if you want ebooks, so these are books that are full cover. The whole book is available for you online. You can click how to find ebooks, come to this page, click the link for ebooks collection, and conduct a keyword search. So here, I'm going to stick with Karen. Whoops, did I spell her name right? Stick with Karen Silkwood. So here we go. The first book that came back, The Whistleblower's Dilemma, Snowden, Silkwood, and Their Quest for the Truth. So that covers a couple of people. If I click onto the title, it's going to bring me to this page. By the way, sometimes you pick Gaston College. Sometimes you click remember my institution. I don't know why. It doesn't always remember that. So you might always have to do this where you have to pick Gaston College. But once you get into the page, if you click read online, that's the cover of the book. And the whole table of contents is over here on the side, so you can click onto it and you can read that certain section. So this looks like a good background of who Karen Silkwood is, background and information about Snowden. It kind of goes back and forth between the two people. And so this is probably good background information to use. And if you found stuff in this book that you wanted, you can cite it by clicking this quotation symbol. And there's your MLS citation that you can copy and paste. Now you do have an option over here on the side where you can download the book if you want to. Anybody can do this if you want, but it does require you to create an account. It's free for you to do. You just have to establish, put your name, email, and password, and create your account. And that'll allow you to download the book for offline viewing if you want to. Anybody, again, you can do that if you want to, but if you click read online, and as long as you're still connected to the internet, you can just read this like it's a web page and just go through the book that way too.
Calvin, do they need the library card?
No. Now here's the thing. So these books are all part of NC Live, and so when you do that login that I told you that had the GCNC Live or it's your Blackboard login, that's your authentication to get into all of these resources.
Okay.
If you are getting a book from school or you're doing anything with our catalog to search physical books, you do need a barcode, you do need a library card, and that will not only help you with being able to borrow books from here, but also allow you to borrow books from other community colleges from across the state. See, folks, you actually have access and ability to borrow from 52 other community colleges, and you really have access to one of the largest libraries in North Carolina because you can do that. And I could tell you more about that, but I know I wanted to really focus today more on the electronic products, but that catalog is available and you can conduct searching there to find additional books.
Does this also have a audiobook option?
Okay, so that is more difficult. And when diving into the realm of audiobooks and subscriptions to audiobooks, there's not a lot that's out there that covers what we call nonfiction or research-oriented type material that we can tap into. Public library has a little bit more ability to do that than we do. We do have audiobooks that are available to you as a student. If you come back over here, I'm going to just drop us into the library homepage really quickly, just to show you that on the library homepage, I've got a link to something called Dogwood Digital Library. And Dogwood Digital Library, if you see some of the titles that are here, this is more, you see there's a mixture of audiobooks and ebooks. This is more fiction oriented than it is nonfiction. So, I mean, if you're a reader, and I encourage you to read, yes, we do have audiobooks.
Yeah, there you go.
But do we have audiobooks that would be talking about Karen Silkwood and freedom of speech topics and stuff that's more researchy? Not really in this. But we do have audiobooks that are available for you. And this is a great resource for you to have access to. And it's called Dogwood Digital Library, and it's right here. You go back to the library homepage. If you come down to the left, you'll see the big graphic for it right here, big dogwood image, and you can find it right there.
Now, Calvin, can you listen to that on any device?
Yeah, you can download it to, we can listen to it on the computer, you can download it on MP3. You can actually, there's an app called Libby. If
Okay.
you go to your app store, you can get that for free. And then you can log in with your credentials. Your library credentials are going to be your Blackboard login. And once you're logged in, you can use the Libby app, and that'll maintain everything. So you can use it on your phone, a tablet, whatever. So yeah, this is more, and you're searching the ebooks here, this is going to be more text, more read online type stuff. Now, we do have statistics that are available for you to find as well. I'm not going to talk about both of these resources, but this one called Statista is just an interesting thing for you to go into. I'm going to type in whistleblowers. I have actually not done this search, so I'm going to see what actually comes up.
All right.
All right, so just by doing that, we actually found something about Italy, but got a lot of stuff about Italy, I see. We got stuff about the United Kingdom. I'm trying to see if there's anything, hacktivism in the US, that's kind of related, but I wanted to see if there's anything US-y. So let me do this. Let me see if I can and in United States, see if I get something a little bit more. Let's take a look at this one about hacktivism. So this is talking about hacktivists, and hacktivists are people who go in and hacking online websites, corporate websites, disrupting corporate websites as part of their platform of social disagreement with certain folks. And so that's sort of what the general idea is about hacktivists. This is sort of a survey about whether or not they're breaking the law and they should be stopped. Most people kind of somewhat agree with that. And the statistics that are coming back here are coming back from just legitimate resources that can help you out. This happens to be under the term of cyber crime and security, and you can actually go into that link and get a little bit more information about the topic, or even take a look at some other issues dealing with privacy information. And it's just full of statistical information that's available for you. And I just wanted you to know that that was there for you and available for you. The statistics that are there, there's raw data, but there's also things called infographics that are available for you. And so if there's something that is of interest to you that's in the infographics area that you want to make a point of, if you find an infographic related to it, it kind of makes a nice visual representation of the statistical point that you want to make instead of just the raw data. So it's something that you can embed into a paper, into a PowerPoint presentation. You can put it in the paper if you wanted to, just something that's more visual.
Right.
And so that's also available for you as a place to kind of mine some information.
Remember too, guys, you're writing argument papers, you got to support a point of view, and statistics are always impressive in most cases, if indeed they are credible statistics.
Yeah, and there's another one here called Statistical Abstract of the United States, and also the census. The census website, and pretty much if you just type in census or census.gov, you're going to find a ton of census information that's really good statistical information. It breaks down demographics of people all the way down to the county levels, usually in the US. So really cool stuff is available for you that way, and that's totally free. That's something you could Google. Just want to finish up the rest of the tabs here. Evaluating websites. So I talked about if you Google or if you Bing.com search, you can use that information if you want to, but you might want to take a look at this criteria to just kind of get that in your head to think, is this stuff good for me to use or not? Here's an example of something. Whether it's recent, some people will have, things that have dead links, or you don't see a date for something. How many times have you ever gone out and Googled something and you wanted to use something for your paper, and then you're like, how do I cite this? Now there's examples in books like the Everyday Writer and On the Line that show you how to cite websites, but there isn't a button you can punch like the library has. So that's kind of a nice feature the library has for you. Also, who wrote the article? Sometimes you don't even see on the web who wrote what it is that you're looking at. Most of my stuff have writers assigned to it. So you're getting added value when you come and use the library. Again, you can use stuff that's freely available on the web, but just ask these questions of it. And sometimes this is referred to as the CRAP test. And that is an acronym for you to go in and check to see whether or not it's relevant for you.
I got to watch that video. I haven't seen the crap.
And then we also have, because fake news is sort of important. Now, this is not the topic of fake news. Some people are dealing with the topic of fake news.
Right.
This is more about just you as a person in the world, looking at social media posts, things like that. This is just a good fact-checking place to go into, like politifact.com, which can fact-check different people's posts to see whether it's false or true or liar, liar, pants on fire. So, folks, you know, we're down the middle. You can be on different sides of the political spectrum. Believe me, people will mislead you no matter who they are as far as a politician. So just kind of keep that in mind. You just always have to be wary about that. So this is a good place for you to kind of check those claims that people make. Conspiracy theories are also kind of a big popular thing that run around social media. So I have a little information about that here as well. And then also plagiarism. You may have heard that term before, but basically that's just trying to keep you from using someone else's words and passing them off as your own. The whole process of citing things as you're writing them and citing where you get your stuff from is telling your instructor that you got this idea from this other person. It's not passing the idea off as your own.
Right.
So there are some things that are very common in the world, like, you know, we know who the president currently is of the United States right now. We know that the sky is blue and the grass is green. So you don't have to prove those things. But when you're writing an article, you have to tell where you got your ideas from. There's a flow chart to kind of help you out with that, and another video over here on the side.
You know, what Mr. Greg is talking about there, guys, you know, we talked about it, what's common knowledge that you don't have to cite, and what's specific knowledge that's special, you know, that you would have to give credit to a source for.
And lastly, on the MLA Citation APA, these are two links to guides in and of themselves. If I click MLA, it's a whole other guide with all its own little drop-down menus at the top of it. But this one that says, how do I cite? Folks, there are all kinds of resources. There are books, ebooks you can cite. There are articles, journal articles, magazine articles, newspaper articles, religious texts, social media. You can cite a lot of different types of things. And so this is kind of going to help you out with that. Maybe you have some unique resource. Maybe you interviewed somebody and you emailed them, or maybe you did it over the phone or something. If you click on the interviews and emails, this is going to show you how you can put your citation for a face-to-face interview as opposed to an email interview, as opposed to a telephone interview. So that's how you can cite, you know, your interview that you want to. So that's another resource that you can use. And this is just a guide to help you out with that. Now, typically with the library, I've got those cite buttons on most of the stuff that you have. So that's where you're going to find your MLA citation. So you don't necessarily have to come back in here and see, oh, how do I do a magazine citation and all that kind of stuff. But this is here available for you if you need it.
Yeah, and guys, this puts it all in one place. You wouldn't have to go to chapter 56 of the Everyday Writer ebook. That they've got all the examples too, but here you have it. It's all collected in one resource for you.
Now, the very last thing I'm going to show you is, while I think that going in and searching resources sometimes individually can be beneficial for you, like going to SIRS Issues Researcher and seeing the topics, or maybe going to Films on Demand, and not just doing a search, but even seeing some of the different videos that they're highlighting. It's kind of neat because it kind of gives you, it just gives you different ideas to think about, and you can see that the different things the database is covering. But just for research purposes, just like I want to find stuff, you can use our summon search if you want to, and this basically searches all of those resources at one time. So if you wanted to do a search, again, on Karen Silkwood, it'll go in and do a search, whether it's a book in our collection, which some of these are book hits that are coming back, whether or not it's newspaper articles, whether or not it's magazine articles, whether or not it's journal articles, and you can select and deselect what you want over here on the side. This is one of those places that I would call the Hail Mary throw. So whenever you're searching in ProQuest Central and maybe you're not finding as much stuff, or even in SIRS Issues Researcher, this would be the place that would cover everything, like all your bases. And so you're pretty much guaranteed to find a hit of something in here. But it's not typically the first place I would bring people to, just because it's so wide and varied. I think it can be kind of confusing to know exactly how to navigate everything in here. And it might then become frustrating. And I think it's a little bit easier to kind of go into a ProQuest Central or a SIRS Issues Researcher initially, and search those to kind of get your feet grounded. Another great thing to do before you even do your research, which I'm hoping you've done, is always read background information on the topic before you go into it, because that will help you determine the right keywords to search for what you want.
Yeah, I've been talking to them about that for about 2 weeks. So
yeah. So does anybody have any questions? I think I've ran here out of time. I'll field any questions from anybody.
okay, guys, I hope you absorbed at least a little bit of this. And the thing is, I will put that link into Blackboard and probably put it in a folder. You can go straight to this particular page reserved for my classes, English 112, and you'll have all this stuff here for you. So I think it should help. So I want to thank Mr. Craig for taking time to do this for us. It worked almost as beautifully as if we were over in the